Democrat Congressman Brett Sherman, who, like Congressman Issa, also sits on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Great to see you today. Boy, this is big news with Facebook. First of all, your take on those 32 pages for that inauthentic behavior. What's being looked at that you know about?
Well, Russia's interfering. They're continuing to interfere. We can't minimize it. I think my colleague, Mr. Isaac, at first analogized these pages to the New York Times. They're not the New York Times. They're Putin. And we have not sanctioned Russia for its interference in our 2016 election. We have sanctions on them for their own abuses of human rights, but we haven't done anything to stop them from, to make it plain, to draw that line in the sand that they'd better not interfere in the 2018 election, and in fact, that's what they're doing.
Congressman Sherman, I was under the impression from reporting and what I've read that those sanctions were upcoming. Is that not the case?
We haven't done it so far. We didn't draw a red line in Helsinki, and unfortunately, on a party line vote, the Republicans rejected spending money on vote tabulation security. And so a lot of people are going to wonder whether their vote was counted in the United States or counted in St. Petersburg.
So that's one element in all of this. But these ads, Facebook now saying that it is in the very early stages of its investigation and this coordinated inauthentic behavior. Still trying to get an idea of what that means moving forward. I'm hearing the words Kremlin and Russia. The vice chair, Mark Warner, had mentioned that. He said, look, my team and I, his staff, have already drilled down on this. They've been briefed. And then now this from Representative Adam Schiff, the ranking member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, just moments ago. Quote, today's announcement from Facebook demonstrates that what we long feared, that malicious foreign actors bearing the hallmark of previously identified Russian influence campaigns continue to abuse and weaponize social media platforms to influence the U.S. electorate. What needs to be done in your estimation at this point? Does the federal government step in? I mean, there's been resistance because you want to have freedom of speech.
We want freedom of speech if Russia, as they do, they have our TV. People could switch to that right now. Please don't. That's with the Russians speaking with their own voice, admitting that it is Russia. But when they pose as Americans on Facebook, it's up to Facebook to get them off. But more importantly, when we saw cyber attacks on the DNC, when we saw the theft of files from the Democratic National Committee by Russia, and Russia has yet to be sanctioned for that, that's a problem. When we haven't drawn a line in the sand, but instead have kind of embraced Putin as an ally of some sort, that is a problem. And when we don't spend money on vote tabulation security, we endanger our democracy and weaken our country. These are the steps that this government has taken, and they're the wrong steps.
I don't want to go down the rabbit hole here, but have the files and computer hardware and all of that been made, I should say, have they been turned over by the DNC and those Democrats who say that they were hacked?
I know that the DNC is cooperating with all federal investigators. I don't think that you blame the New York Times. I don't think you blame the victims of this cyber burglary. I think you blame Russia and a foreign policy that does not punish or deter Russia or even insulate our vote tabulation system from further Russian attacks.
Well, absolutely, Russia is a wrongdoer in this, and meddling might be too soft of a word for what Facebook is finding out that they're doing now, inauthentic behavior coordinated. But I ask the questions about the DNC files and computer files and whatnot just because it helps to be able to see what happened. For your time, I thank you very much for coming on.
Look forward to coming back and talking about North Korea and Iran.
All right. Congressman Sherman, thanks.